All right, welcome to everybody. So I'll go ahead and go through my opening notes here, and then I'll turn it over to Dan. Ethan is going to be our kind of keynote guest speaker tonight. We'll give him, at least a good 15 minutes. He has a lot of good things to say. I believe he has some friends he invited on that'll want to follow up. So again, anything that's being said, raise your hand. You could raise your hand now if you think you're going to want to be the first to say something. It's fine. But I'm going to go ahead with my opening notes, and then I'll turn it over to Dan, who will chair the meeting and take hands. And Ethan will start off the meeting tonight as a guest speaker. My notes, 3 a.m. blog, I just covered that one before I started recording. Anybody that goes to the site and they read the most recent blog, or the blog that's titled Mega MAGA Fail, will know what I read before I started recording right now. The National Militia Directory. I spent the last couple of days creating finally a National Militia Directory so that we could have, I put it in 4 sections. The first section is just kind of a brief overview of, the militia, what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. The second section is just important, contacts and important things to know. The third section will be a list of commanders. Last night, I'll jump to my next note. I was invited into a meeting with the Militia Command out of California. I was on with Colonel Myra in Michigan, and Mark Lundgren, who is the security and intelligence advisor, and Lieutenant Colonel Bastis out of California, Colonel Brian Hunt. For those that don't know, Colonel Brian Hunt was, if you remember the Bundy incident, where the FBI were at a standoff with the militia. Colonel Hunt, Brian Hunt, was the commanding officer at that scene. I've had several phone calls with him over the last couple of weeks, and he invited me into this meeting last night. Michael School out of California, who's our legal officer for the militia, a very knowledgeable guy in the law. Lieutenant Colonel Turner in California, Northern California, Colonel Knott in Tennessee, and Dominic, the CIB Deputy Director. And then they indicated that Colonel Page in Maine was out on operations, and Colonel Thorne, doing their, practice, whatever, doing their training, their drills, their operations, whatever they were doing. So that was a good meeting I had last night. We covered a lot of ground. I made my case to them. Colonel Hunt told me, after I laid out my whole case, because he's been 30 years traditional militia, right? I mean, commanding forces. So he's certainly, and this is by no means, a put down, but he's certainly programmed and conditioned in his way of thinking, over 30 years. So to some degree, my efforts here at Righteous Army are new and novel to him. And he made an innocent comment, in response of, are you trying to, reinvent the wheel? And I said, no, I'm trying to make a better wheel. And I did make my case with them that one of to me, the most important things that I believe was conveyed, and they all listened well and had questions that, were encouraging to me, was I was making the point, first of all, that while I trust them, and let me say again, I'm a cynic, I'm skeptical, I'm critical minded. I always say there's nothing going to get by me. So I've put it out there that a big part of what righteousarmy.org will be, Militia USA will be, my efforts is to, as we grow, actually be protection for people that are interested in the militia, because there's a lot of people out there right now that are actually afraid of joining the militia. They're afraid that it's an FBI sting operation. And I said I'd mention his name tonight when he texted me back and said he's not going to take the bait. If anybody has ever heard of, because his name was referred to me, he's apparently big on the internet, Jaron Jackson, a patriot. My understanding is he's former military, he's an athletic guy, he's a gung-ho patriot and a Christian man. And it's ironic that he, I won't go over the details of the text, but, I invited him to the meeting tonight, and, the last sentence was, it's also true that feds play games, and I'm not taking the bait. So even a patriot like him, a Christian, a strong, powerful man, was essentially concerned or afraid about coming in to my invitation to this meeting because he thought it might have been a Fed operation. So there's a legitimate point, and I made it with the commanders last night. There's people that want to join, and they're afraid to. And why are they afraid to? They're afraid to because of everything that's gone on, obviously over several years now, but over the past, with January 6th, right, and the people being, rounded up. We know that after that, because of the rigged election, regardless of Trump's involvement or where you stand with Trump, pro-Trump, not for Trump, for Trump, it doesn't matter. I've addressed that on the website as well. The point is that there's no doubt that there were gung-ho patriots, man, with arms, that after January 6th, man, they were probably trying to rally and get together here and there. And I've said before, I believe there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of them that were rounded up by federal operations because they want to take out the badasses. They want to take out the ones that are strong and kick ass, but a lot of them aren't doing it smartly. We're doing it smartly because we're doing it peacefully, lawfully, open and transparent, by the book, and growing. And they're not going to like it, but there's nothing they can do about it. And they can't take me out. There's no leader to what I've created, what I started. It doesn't need me because it's already out there. People know that we, the people, are the militia. I'm easily replaceable. A child can run the militia based on the system or formula that I was inspired to come up with, which again is having a point of contact, right? A point man or point woman in every county throughout every state. And I made the point to them because again, they're like, doing their training in secret to that extent that of course they're not going to say everything they're doing. But I told them, in all fairness, not that I'm, being a cynic and critical minded. I don't know. I don't know if Michael School and Brian Hunt have been turned and now they're working to help round up the radical hardcore patriots. I don't know. I don't believe that. I'm not asserting that's the case. I even said that last night with them. I'm not making that assertion, but that's the way my mind works. I'm always on guard. Nothing's going to get by me. So I explained to them because a couple of them that never heard of me were like, well, how does this work? How are we working with you? And I explained to them that we're front end. Right? We're just waking up the people that are already awakened, that are waking up, to remind them that we, the people, are the militia. Second Amendment, I am militia, right? Which is why I'm telling everybody, get a shirt that says that, I am militia, whether you get it on our website or you make it yourself. Get it, because this is the message. We, the people, are the militia, and we have to unite and organize around that reality. Because that's us. A red MAGA hat, that's Trump. And many people have made the point that MAGA is actually an abbreviation for a demon. There's a lot of correlations people have made that look into stuff. I don't want to go down that road, but there's people have made some profound points about it. Sure, it's an anagram, make America great again. But again, what did he miss? Make America godly again. Make America Christian again. Make America moral again. Make America decent again. So we're about organizing Americans, all of whom voted for Donald J. Trump without question, who are conservatives, Christians, patriots, truthers. They believe in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, traditional family values. They believe in goodness. They believe in God. They're church going. They're opposed to the leftist, liberal, progressive agenda. These are things I'm always saying, so I won't go no more with that. But good, we scared another one away unless they got dropped off. But that's what we want, or that's what we mean by the righteous army, right? Righteous, those of us that are all of accord on these issues, we're opposed to the New World Order, one world government agenda. We're uniting under the banner of militia because we the people are the militia. So having said that, there is an official militia, and I was on the phone with several of the commanders last night, and they're doing their thing. And I'm looking to integrate their program on how they're organizing militias in counties and states into our website as well, and referring our people to their website to be familiar with what they're doing. And again, I made it clear to them last night. It's about us being the front end, making it a new flavor, a new understanding of the militia, working with your county sheriff and your deputies, having gun safety training, right? Having somebody come over once a month in your county to talk about the laws and what your rights are, invite the children and the family down. Everybody's wearing an I Am Militia shirt. Again, whether you get it on our site or you make your own, get one, have one, wear it all the time, because this is our banner. This is who we are. It's a showing of force, but we're doing it peaceful. Which, by the way, I just changed on the website. If anybody didn't notice, I had lawful and peaceful until forced to be lawfully violent. And Charles, right there in the beautiful tuxedo in the middle, Charles Stewart made a good Christian, comment that, Christians really aren't violent. And I liked it, and I was still justifying, no, we're being lawfully violent because we're being pushed to that. But he made some good points and helped me to revise that, and I did. It's now states lawful and peaceful until forced to defend our communities or our community. So I kind of do like that better as well. So I'm open. I'm always refining things. I said early on, we had a guy out of North Carolina, Nebraska, Michael, who was, indicating that he didn't like that I had declaration of war. Even though it was against the New World Order, One World Government, he thought that was kind of strong. I changed that to declaration of opposition to a New World Order, One World Government agenda. So, I'm flexible, malleable. I listen to others. I take the insight. So, yeah, the National Militia Directory is on the website now. It's a PDF on the militia page near the top. So you can see it there, and it'll always be being revised as new names are coming in. I wanted to make a comment that Tave, our point man in Ohio, sent me a text. He's moving out of Ohio now, maybe to Missouri. So he'll be switching up there. I guess the last point I'll make is, again, as people are coming on board, yes, I've put forth the effort to be the National Militia Coordinator, the coordinator for Florida, the coordinator for Miami-Dade County, but a point man in every county. Those that come on and at first are point men and women for their state. So ultimately, in theory, Chris in North Carolina, maybe it's Chris, maybe it's not. Maybe it's Chris and 2 or 3 other people are having these Zoom meetings on a night of his choosing for North Carolina, right? Militia USA, North Carolina. Let's, Righteous Army, North Carolina. Let's get it going. And Brian Traub, our point man in New Mexico. We're getting to the point where it's going to be about him. So I can't run every county in every state. I'm putting forth a massive effort to organize we, the people who are the militia, lawful, legal, peaceful, open, transparent, right? And I'm articulating my thoughts. It's all on the website. There's nothing more I can say. Thank you for putting up your hands, guys. I'm going to turn it over to Dan. Dan is going to chair and take hands. But again, we are going to start off with Ethan, who has some great things to say. We'll give him 10 or 15 minutes. Take it away, Ethan, and then Dan will be chairing. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Right,
yes, yeah, I can hear you good.
So,
hey, Ethan,
right.
Ethan, before you start, whoever's got Samsung using their phone to listen in, would you please mute your phone? There's background noise. Thank you. Go ahead, Ethan.
My phone is muted.
All right. So it's great to be here. It's great to have this opportunity to talk with some like-minded people. And everybody is very frustrated. There's tremendous efforts on how we become free from all the suppression, and tyranny. And there's a lot of efforts in a lot of areas. And I have a saying, a couple of sayings. One is own your authority. 2 is my constitutional kiss, which is not keep it simple, stupid, because I have the most intelligent audience in the world. It's keep it stupidly simple. So we all know that we have the right to travel. We have this constitutionally. It's been upheld multiple times in the higher courts and the lower courts. However, we have so much tyranny and treason and oppression that people get in trouble for traveling because they're alone. First Amendment, a lot of the First Amendment auditors are out there alone. Now, we don't have lawful courts. All these buildings that are known as courts, district courts and circuit courts, they are not lawful courts. They are banks and morgues. They are systems to imprison us, to torture us, to torment us, and keep us living in fear. We have been dumbed down from the day we were born. I'm 64 years old. I got a public education. Well, I got my public education at a time when there were still some good Westerns that ran on TV. There was a lot of World War I and World War II movies. So when I was young, I got to watch men being men. And it's only in recent times, like the last couple of years, that I'm seeing Westerns that I never saw before. And I'm gonna list off a couple of the titles because they're worth searching out on YouTube to learn what it is to be a man, how a man acts, what it means to be an American. So one of them is The Tall Man. Another one is Tombstone Territory. There's a lot of them. And in one of my recent talks, I listed several of them off. So now, what are we going to do to wake the people up? The Wake America Tour is putting America to sleep. 107 is putting America to sleep. All these guys are putting America to sleep. We got to wake America up. So this is how I propose that we do it. We band together with right to travel, right to carry. And we go out in teams. No women, no children, men that are willing to be men that are willing to die for what's right, men that are willing to take action. Because we're living in a time when good men are going to have to do bad things to bad men, period. It's that simple. So the Supreme Court has upheld right to travel time and time again. The lower courts have upheld right to travel time and time again. However, who has right to travel? Almost nobody. The ones that are having the most success with it right now are the ones that are going through the copper moonshine teaching and getting a state national passport. Well, I'm going to explain that to you. That is akin to being in the Jewish camps over there in Germany, and you're one of the Jews in the camp, but you got special privilege because you get that state national position, you get that passport, you're in the system. That came from the system. That's not you owning your authority. And all they have to do is just push a button and it changes everything. That do not detain status evaporates on you. So I propose that we get together in teams as the militia and with the shirts, right? Not only that, we have all the assemblies that have formed. They formed grand juries, but we have no law enforcement because we don't have constitutional sheriffs. And that's in big part because of Sheriff Mack, who's an 80-20 guy or a 90-10 guy, or maybe a 99-1 guy. All right. He talks a bunch of good talk, but he doesn't believe in assembly. And he tells you to take your problems to the attorney general. Go straight to the devil with your problem, you know? So, Sheriff Mack is no help. And you got, we've all experienced Mark Levin and Dershowitz, these constitutional scholars. They're always pondering the Constitution, because they can't figure it out. It's so complicated. Well, BS, it's just really simple. We also have the People's Bureau of Investigation, all right? Everybody's born an agent. Everybody can be an agent with the People's Bureau of Investigation as they are a militia member. We can all own our authority, and what we have to do is come together with our right to travel, our right to carry, our First Amendment, and I propose that we organize this well, and that we have our travel plans mapped out. We have a meeting place where the plates come off, your ID, your insurance, your registration, all that stuff gets locked up, but you don't have to show that to nobody. And we move out from there. And we have a distinct plan. We're going down these roads, and then those roads, and then these roads. We're going through this city, this town, this village. And our organizers are on the phone in advance, contacting that local sheriff, contacting those local municipality policy office, contacting the state police, and letting them know the men are owning their authority, and they are not going to take it anymore. So be advised, we are here to educate the people. We're here to educate them that they have much more than the right to travel and the right to bear arms and freedom of speech. We have the right to lawful courts, and we don't have lawful courts. We have corporations that do not follow law, that are banks and morgues and enslavement systems, and they imprison us. They have us living in fear. It's time for the men, to be providers and protectors, so that the women and the children can be safe and secure. And I don't think we should have any women or any children out on the road as we're doing what we're doing, because we are men who are going to own our authority, who are willing and able to do bad things to bad men. And once we do this and we wake everybody up to that fact, then they're going to say, what other rights do we have? Well, you have the right to not get the jab. You have the right to not wear a mask. You have the right to not shut your business down. You have the right to hold your servants accountable in a lawful court. Get your assemblies formed. Get your grand juries formed. Get constitutional sheriffs and own your authority. And it's that simple. This is my constitutional kiss. Keep it stupidly simple. So that's my message in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on, but there's no point. So the getting organized, doing this powerfully, and waking the people up. We need Tucker Carlson to report on it. We need Stu Peters to report on it. Not just social media that's just getting, a couple hundred hits here and 1,000 hits there. No, we have to wake up America, and it's just that simple. I yield.
Okay, I think the next up was Melissa had her hand up first, and we do ask that you keep it as brief as possible. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say the Father calls ordinary people to do extraordinary things that can only be accomplished through divine inspiration. In 1 Timothy, it says, I do not permit women to teach or to have authority over men. But we have to look through the Bible, and women have played key roles in fulfilling Yahweh's plan. They have also held positions of leadership and responsibility in spreading the word. We have some of these names I might not pronounce right. Jael, she's in Judges, Miriam in Exodus, Ruth, Rehab, who was an innkeeper, Mary, the mother of Christ, and of course, Deborah, who is in Judges 4 and 5. And Deborah, the people had turned again from Yahweh and were doing evil as a result, living in conditions unbearable, the economy, crime, similar to today. And Deborah was a warrior. She was obedient to everything Yahweh asked her to do. She was used to deliver Israel from bondage. Now, personally, I do not believe that women should be on the front lines and fighting, but we do have a stake in this, especially as mothers. And I feel that there's been some talk in the chat discarding women, and I find that very disheartening. because we can be part of this and we have a right to be part of this. And that's all I have to say.
All right,
I-
thank you, Melissa.
I need to just interject quickly on that, just to make it clear, right? By all means, Dan and I mean, I started this thing, and Dan's my right hand, wingman, who came in right from the get-go with me, and he's a godly man. And we have always asserted that absolutely there's a place for women to be patriots. They can bear arms. They should know how to use weapons. To the extent that, we would concur that we don't want women being, on front lines doing battle. That's a man's responsibility. We would certainly say that we prefer and favor that that's the man's job to get, use his stature and his down and dirty abilities, as opposed to having women. There's all kinds of opportunities for women where they don't have to and shouldn't be on frontline battles. Go ahead.
Okay. Yep. And we also want to remember that many times the father put women in that position because the men failed to do their job. So it was to shame the men to do the right thing. Okay. I got Chris up next. You go ahead, Chris.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to comment on Mike's, in the beginning, he was talking with the other colonels around the country, and the way Mike has developed this from the way my perspective is like the Black Robe Regiment back in the Revolutionary War, when local pastors were encouraging their congregations to pick up arms against a tyrannical government. He was removed. They were removing the fear among the populace. So they were great leaders at that time, and they were just working with their local churches. We don't have that now. Our local churches they're null and void at this point. So in a way, I see Mike has kind of picked up that mantle, but he has much wider, bigger megaphone with the internet. So I believe I agree with Mike's approach. We could each individual affect our county or organize our counties. And as far as women, the women right now are the ones leading the charge. If you look at the school boards and these movements that are happening at the local level, it's being done by the women. The men have yet to stand up. So it kind of goes to Ethan's point, is where are the men? When do we stand up? It doesn't have to be violent, but I think that's a problem with our society right now, is the father's left home. The father's doing the family, a lot of single family, mothers raising family. So yes, the men have a big role to play, and we've been failing thus far. So I think we need to keep working on it. I'm gonna have to go in a few, but thanks a lot, guys.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Mike, did you have something you want to interject?
Yeah. Let me reiterate again. Yeah, absolutely. By all means, women are up on men on a lot of things. They're in many ways stronger than men. Certainly they handle a whole hell of a lot more than most men want to handle, many of whom are housewives and mothers and working, right? I've commented before that part of the issue here, of course, is it all comes back down to the New World Order, one world government agenda, man, period. That's what it's all about. It's the New World Order, one world government, break down the nations, destroy the races, amalgamate all people, no more black, no more white, no more male, no more female, just get rid of gender identity, get rid of racial integrity, and they want to rule over all people as sheeple. That's what it's all about. And it's contrary to God, it's contrary to nature, it's contrary to natural reproductive order. So yes, it is a Christian call, it's a biblical call, it's a godly call, it's a moral call. What we're doing, by all means. So kind of two issues there going on in my mind at the same time, but women, sometimes I joke around, I might've told this joke on another video when I was playing with my wife, and there was a cockroach in the house and she asked me to get it, and I picked it up and I threw it in the garbage already, but I started coming after like I had it. And buddy, she slugged me in the arm, and my whole body felt stunned and I fell to the floor, man. So they can be tough, right? We don't want them to have to be, like Dan said. The Lord can use them to shame men even, right? They shouldn't
Right.
have to be.
Okay.
The men should be doing it.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Yep,
yield.
keep it short, keep it short. The other thing we're going to remember too is society. For almost most of my entire life, society's been putting the males down. Okay. From the time of single motherhood, single parent homes, in the schools, men, boys that behaved like boys in the old days were told to stop it. It's violent. Don't be rough. So we have much more going on than just a simple, men are not doing their jobs. They haven't been trained to do their jobs. And so that's part of what we're trying to do. Men need to learn how to be men again. They have not learned. The schools aren't doing it. Their homes aren't going to do it. The church sure as hell not going to do it. And we got all that going against us. Dave, let me check. And Tim had his hand up and he took it down. Tim, did you want to say something? You're muted, Tim. Yeah. And remember, take your hand down when you're done talking, folks.
So I just wanted to discuss Ethan's concept there, an idea. We've been talking about it a lot lately. The two of us have we've been involved together for better part of a year. I investigated for him the Sheriff Darleaf here in Michigan, and looked into was it Brigadier General, all these things for him, and discovered his entire story. So I've been working with Ethan for a long time. So, this man has got an idea here that I know to be like very powerful, and we need to focus on a plan to move forward with that as quickly as possible, because it is truly going to wake up the masses. So I think we need to really get our minds wrapped around it as patriots, all of us, because we could spread this concept, pick a date, and just make it happen. It's going to wake people up, whether or not they're awake a little bit or not at all. But when the FBI is raiding a former president's home, and then a few weeks later, there's people driving around with no license plates and driver's license in a pocket, I propose we have a burning of driver's license wherever we meet in a 55-gallon drum. We burn driver's licenses and we burn the license plates. And then we go about our freedoms from that point forward. That's what I suggest. So, but
Yep.
We need to definitely do what he's talking about. We need to do it as expediently as possible.
Hey, Tim,
Yeah,
can I ask you a question?
sure.
A very good friend of mine from North Florida by the name of Charles, I believe the last name, it's German, like Gerschleider or something like that. He went up there to work with Sheriff Darleaf in Michigan. Is he still up there? Or are you familiar with him? He had
I'm
the
not.
deputize him plan.
No, I went out there and met with Darleaf and his people, and I heard that was coming up maybe a few weeks ago from Rick Martin. He was telling me that before his last venture behind bars. So last I heard that, he's like everyone else. I think they're compromised. I think they're threatened and blackmailed. I think they got all the sheriffs. I just think that, none of them stood their ground in any way, shape, or form when this all happened. There wasn't a governor in the United States that manned up. They all acted like this is just normal, to just have no rights, have your rights just completely diminished down to putting a mask over your face and being forced to get a shot, and all this insanity. These guys have all been taken. There's not a single sheriff in this country that's worthy of that position. Well,
Okay,
I guess
so
they are,
we're on
because
our
they're
own.
corporate tax collectors. So in reality, they're worthy of that position, the so-called position. They're not worthy of an actual position within a republic, but
Yep.
they're
We're on
worthy
our
of the
own.
fake position of being a tax collector, right?
Yep. We're on our own is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Two real quick ones. Just today, I received information from people I know personally for a long time. Two things. There is a slowdown in the supply chain. This is going to critically affect the supply of food. Please keep that in mind as we go forward. I also heard from a friend up in New York that they had to call the state police out to their property over a property dispute with neighbors. and the police officer or the state trooper told this particular person that the law enforcement agency are well aware that this country is falling apart within. They are totally aware of it. So this is not tinfoil hat or conspiracy theory. I yield to Gator Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, gentlemen, ladies out there tonight, I'm Dave Broadhurst here for the People Radio 101.com. I did want to comment on when we were talking about women in the fight. Now, we got to think about something here. Back in the old days, Revolutionary War and everything, the women were making the uniforms and this and that. We jump up to World War I, they were helping to build, the tanks, the airplanes, and then World War II, kind of the same thing. They went into nursing and everything else. They have been involved in wars from the get-go. Now, what has changed in modern times, I forget what year it was when the military allowed women to go into combat. Do you all remember? Because I could vaguely remember when it was a fight. Congress, Senate, they didn't want women to go into combat, which is understandable. You know, if you're fighting with a woman, she gets blown to bits. That's horrible, right? But brothers, sisters, times have changed. I personally know great warriors, women, police officers, firefighters, okay, military, women out there that have dedicated their lives to fight for our country and our Constitution. We even have women out there that are literally flying the most sophisticated aircraft in the world, ready to fight for our country. So I don't want them to get discouraged because they are mighty warriors as well. And they're out there ready to give their lives for America. And we need those type of warriors always. But God forbid this goes down into a type of civil war, let's say between the peoples. We don't want our wives and children in the fight. It is up to us men. And we can't allow the politicians and everything else, the media, put us down. I mean, I agree with that as well. We got to stand for what we believe in, folks, brothers. You know, we really do. And that's what we're doing now, all coming together from all around the country, saying enough is enough. Because if we men don't stand for what we believe in our country, how are the women going to believe in us? You know what I'm saying? In our children and so forth. I teach my children stand for our Constitution. It all does come from that as well. Moms and dads teaching their children, get them away from all the evil that's going on out there, which I don't have to tell you. But I just wanted to make that comment to remind everybody there are great women warriors ready to protect and serve and die for you. I yield.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen,
Yeah.
Gator Dave.
Thank you.
Let me just add one more thing, because we try to tie everything into scripture. So because it makes sense and it's true. We all know there's exceptions to the rule, but the Bible makes it very clear. The rule of thumb is that violent fighting is done by us men. It's our job. And the women have a very, very important job. They are the next generation. We men can't do that. We can't carry those that will take over when we're gone. Only the ladies can do that. So it's the men's job to take the fight to the enemy. Now the women and children are to be trained in war and weapons of war, because if we fall in the field of battle, then it's up to them to fight for self-survival. So they have to know how to do that. But again, we know there's exceptions to every rule, but the general rule is that that's the men's job. The ladies should not be forced. If they want to do it, they can always do it. I mean, nothing's stopping them, but they shouldn't feel that they have to do it. We men have failed, and it's time we men learn to be lions again and show the ladies that we're worthy of their support, that we will fight and die if necessary to protect them. Mike, I yield to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Great points. David in New York there, awesome points. I addressed this issue in a meeting a few weeks back. This is a deep one. I get into the really deep, concepts behind these things. David said something, came out of his mouth. He said, times have changed. I'm constantly harping on the fact, see, this is deep stuff. Most people right now, most patriots see things very shallow. They think it's Biden and Trump, it's Democrat, Republican, and Trump's the good guy, and Trump, that bad Biden. Once we get him out of office, everything will be good again. Voting the politician that's on my side back. They've been trained to think very shallow. Most have no clue of what's really going on. Even with all respect to the militia commanders that I was on the phone with last night, they're kind of conditioned over 30 years to think in a tunnel vision. It's Russia and China, and we don't have to fight against our own government. We would never do that anyway. That's sedition. Meanwhile, our government has literally been infiltrated and hijacked by communists. And those communists who have infiltrated and hijacked our government are the exact same ones that are pushing for a new world order. I'm beside myself saying this because I feel how I can feel the energy even through this computer machine. There are some that know this, but how many don't even grasp the big picture of what's going on. There is a new world order, one world government agenda afoot. And that same new world order, one world government agenda, those communists, those who watch all 12 hours of Europa, the last battle, will have some insights into these points I'm making. They are all about, there's a lot of things about World War I and World War II that people just don't know. You know, and it's hard to get into it. That's why I always say Europa, the last battle. But let me just say, there was a guy fighting in World War I who saw his nation destroyed completely. And he got several medals fighting for his nation, Germany. And after that nation was destroyed and lost parts of its territory and had a 50% unemployment rate, and the Rothschild banking system moved in and had total control over Berlin, and they were creating brothels and child sex rings and transvestites. This isn't something that's new, that's just coming on the scene in our generation. They hit it hard in Germany with all the same perversion and filth and violence. And this man who had several medals from World War I and saw his country being perverted and destroyed from within, stepped up to try to do something about it and to try to save his nation and to try to take back his lands. That communist perverse system is what is the basis for everything I read at the opening before I started recording my blog that I read earlier. I hope that most people on here, I mean, I'd appreciate if you put a thumbs up right now if you thought that thing I read at the beginning was meaningful and significant and it sounded good and I nailed it. Because maybe I didn't, but I got one thumbs up on it. That's 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up. All right, that's good enough for me. You don't have to feel obligated to put a thumbs up. If I only got 3 out of 20, I'm happy with that. I know that here's another one here's another easy one for you. Evil will prevail when good men and women do nothing. They're perverted, they're sick, they're godless, they're turning women into men, they're turning men into women. So all of the movies that they own and they control, all of the television programming that they own and control, they're actors. They deliberately, intentionally will force into the movies, into the television programs, deliberately, strategically making it where women are shaving their heads and getting tattoos all over their body and acting butch. And I'm with that big old machine gun and blah, 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 blah. And you see it all the time. Actually, Dan doesn't, because he doesn't watch the Idiot Box and he doesn't watch the perverted movies. Dan, next time I see a movie that's that bad, I'll tell you to watch it and you'll see what's going on in this world. Dan doesn't even know. It's perverse, man. Times have changed. You nailed it, Dave. You nailed it, David. Times have changed. Over the last 30 years, they have been conditioning and programming people to believe that all the political correctness, I've made comments before. I'm not a racist in a bad sense. I've made the point I'm a racist because I believe that God created all the unique, beautiful races. And I'm a separatist like Melissa. She says it perfectly. She loves her neighbors. She loves black, white, Chinese. We love all people. We believe the creator made something a certain special way, and that should be acknowledged and respected and preserved. It's the media that has turned it into this twisted concept of, it ain't about the color of your skin, man, you racist. It's not about color of skin. It's about racial preservation, racial integrity. Let me ask every black person out there, are you proud to be black? Are you happy to be black? Are you happy the creator made you black? You better be, you should be. I can say the same thing to every Indian and every Chinese person. Oh, if you're a white person, you're racist. No, you can't say it for the white people. No, they have been attacking the white Anglo-Aryan race for the last 100 years. They used World War I and World War II to destroy 100 million of them. They've been using the media over the last 20, 30 years to push this concept where, again, every commercial, black man and a white woman, I know somebody who's half. He's half and half black, half white. Mother black, father white, or reverse. And he flat out told me, I agree with what you're saying. They're using it as a weapon. I mean, that's where I come from. I mean, yeah, I'm a human and I'm half and half, but I totally get your point. You're right. They're pushing it as a weapon. They're trying to, because they're trying to create this godless, no race, no gender identity, no racial integrity, break down the nations, break down the cultures. That's what they're doing. So women, let's push them in there. Let's make them look butch with machine guns in the movies more and more and more. Hey, times are changing, brother. We got to let those gays in the military, man. We got to let those trannies in the military, brother. Times are changing. Come on, man. Get with it, you all. Come on. Times are changing. We got to get some trannies in there. I want my tranny friends next to me fighting in battle, all right? Come on. This is what they're pushing. It's the communists, the godless, immoral, perverted communists who are seeking to dominate the world, that are doing everything that's going on. The Trump rigged election, they're behind it. All of it, they're behind it. They're taking the USA down from within. We might not have a nation in the end, but there's some people out there seemingly that are at least trying to put back the republic and make this state a republic and get into the laws and protect our rights. And let's stand for our dignity and our rights. That's what I did all the way through 21 and 2020, 21, 22 with the bigvirushoax.com. Hell no, you're not going to force me to wear a face diaper and tell me I have to get poisons injected into my body. Man, I got 100 videos of me dealing with police officers in a nice, respectful way. I didn't get arrested. I saluted them with my Trump hat on when they came up. How you doing, guys? Here's the law. This place can't prevent me to go in. That's a violation of US code, 42 US code and 18 US code. And it's a violation of it's a violation of all kinds of laws, civil rights, you know? So I address those issues because that's the way I am. I am fearless because I trust 100% in God. We're all going to die. I'm not suicidal, but I don't care. I'm gonna, whether I die today in 50 years, it's the same thing. We're all here temporary. So while I am here, I'm going to call out the evil, like it said in the end of my little blog. When I see the devil, and that's figurative. When I see evil, I'm going to point to it. I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to encourage others to do the same. Because if we don't, evil will prevail when good men and women do nothing. It's that simple. So we must. I can't believe that I've been doing this for 2 months. And the most I've had is 25 people on a Zoom meeting. I'm beside myself. I mean, thank God for you 25. And again, we've had other meetings where there was also 25 and it was none of the ones that are here. So, and I got 350 on my mailing list, you know, that clicked on my link over the last 2 weeks to sign up and get emails from me. So they're out there, but I'm also the most shadow banned person on the internet. That's a fact. Do you know I have 1,500 people on my mailing list with constant contact, 1,500. I have a BitChute account, a Rumble account, a YouTube account, a Brighteon account, 3 YouTube accounts. I got like 8 platforms that I upload our videos to. YouTube usually takes them down. The other 5, they stay up. I got 3 Facebook accounts, 3 Twitter accounts, and 3 Gab accounts. And when we do our videos, I send it out to my email list. I send it out I upload it to 7 or 8 channels. I post it all day long on Patriot, you know, websites, pages on Facebook, on 3 separate accounts, you know, Patriots for America, Patriots United, Trump supporter this, Trump supporter, all day long. A couple of days go by and my videos have 80 views, 100 views, 150 views. Either I'm a very unlikable person. I'm ugly. People don't like the way I look. I must be ugly, or people don't like my personality, and that's fine. You don't have to like me. I don't have to be beautiful. I mean, I can always come on, just like this from now on, that lion's more beautiful than I am. So the point is, what the hell is going on? Where are the American patriots? Every single Trump supporter should throw away their red hat, because that's what they made a target anyway. Let's go after the red hats and get a shirt either on our website or make it yourself. Second Amendment, I am militia. And if you do make it yourself, at least put militiausa.org on it or righteousarmy.org, because that's where we're putting all the best of the best information, the best articulation of everything that's going on. So David, that's what it's about. Times are changing, brother. Yes, times have changed. And it's been changing over the last 30 years, where they've been pushing to quash to quash white men with black men, to quash men with women, to subdue and destroy the Anglo-Aryan race. That's their goal. It's their stated goal. They've said it in numerous sources. Watch Europa: The Last Battle. You'll get it. You'll know what's going on. But the point is, they have this one world order. They see all humanity. They're the supremacists. And if you know who they are self-proclaimed supremacists. They don't mix with other races. They don't go to different churches. They have the same religion, the same bank accounts, the same money, the same group. They're the same group of people, and they control the banks. They control the Fed. They control Hollywood. They control the television. They control the media. They control all the narratives. They are the ones pushing. I'll give you a hint. In the early 1900s, there was a thing called the Jewish Bolshevik Revolution, where a group of highfalutin Jews conspired to move into Russia, kill the Christian Tsar and his entire family, and take over Russia. General Patton, several months into his commission, said in his letter to his wife, "What the hell are they doing? They're making me fight against my own people. We should be fighting against the Russians, not the other guys." Because the other guys have the money, and they literally paid the US presidents to turn on a dime and work. The USA, people don't even realize the USA was siding with the communists in World War I and World War II because they were paid to do so. People are clueless about what's really going on. I'm doing my best to get it out there. That's also why I'm the most shadow banned man on the internet, which I am. But the point is, you're right. Times have changed because of that group. Because of that one world order group of people that want to destroy the whites and destroy the blacks and destroy all races and destroy gender identity and turn women into butches with shaved heads and tattoos shooting rifles. And sure, if a woman, I've never disrespected Sandy, who was on our meeting. I salute her. God bless her. I've shook the hand of female pilots at Homestead Air Force Base when I've gone to air shows, and it's impressive to see a little lady, man, that gets in that freaking jet and takes off and can do things. Personally, and we're entitled to our personal beliefs and opinions. Yes, I agree, as many men do. The idea that even a woman being in a jet and she's dropping bombs to kill, I don't see women as being killers. I see them as being life bringers. Like Dan mentioned, they carry the babies into the world. But people don't even care about babies coming into the world anymore, right? They want to kill them while they're in the womb, rip them out. So yes, women can do great things. I'll salute them. They have the ability. But it really should be and would be very few that are even doing it or trying to do it if they haven't been conditioned and brainwashed over the last 30 years to say, there's the open door. This is what you need to do, woman. You need to be better than a man. You need to be equal to man. You're no longer, those white men don't have power over you anymore. Come on, ladies. Come on, blacks. What did Trump do through his whole thing? Hey, man, the unemployment rates are up for blacks. Unemployment rates are up for the Chinese. Unemployment rates are up for the Indians. Not once did he ever mention the Aryan, the white man. Not once. Not once. Oh, why? Because we got to push them down? People don't know what's going on. But I'll tell you right now, to all of my, same kind of features, white, Aryan, Caucasian, there's another one for you. Racist, white supremacist, psyops. No. It's their own admission. It's their own admission. I'm not a white supremacist in some way. There are supremacists. It's the communists. I wrote a blog on that too. It comes after the blog I read. It's the next one. Communist versus a separatist. A separatist can be a good person that believes in God and just respects all the unique, beautiful, different races, or a separatist could be a tyrannical, person who says, I'm going to destroy all the others so that my race can prevail over all. White people don't do that. We're not trying to say we're going to kill all the other races off, but there is a group that has a one world order agenda that's endeavoring to do just that. Obviously, we know that because they're killing people right now by the millions. I yield.
I got a couple quotes here based on what you were saying and other people were saying. I use on my radio show. The Japanese samurai code of conduct, it's called Bushido, which is way of the warrior. The only solution for bad and violent people is good people, meaning moral people, that are more skilled in violence. So that explains the whole samurai, which means servant. So the samurai were servants of the people, and their job was to protect the innocent people from being picked on by the robbers and the rapists and all that. The same thing with the knights of the Middle Ages. They were chivalrous. They took a code of honor. Their job, being better skilled at violence, was to kill and protect the innocent people by killing the very bad people. So Japanese samurai code. And then Taylor Caldwell wrote a book called The Captains and the Kings back in 1974. And in that, she says, mankind adores its betrayers and murders its saviors. That being said, the masses have always been the asses. The scripture supports the fact that most of these people walking around today are not going to make it through this judgment period. So the idea that we're going to save about 2/3 of these people out here, that isn't going to happen. So if you want to be part of the remnant that makes it through, that's what we're all about. You can't do anything for the brain dead. Okay. You can lead a horse to water. You cannot make it drink. I know, I was raised on a farm. It's true. You can take them down by the creek. You can't make them drink water. Okay. So they're brain dead. And Christ Jesus himself said it. You can go into a town and tell them the truth. If they accept it, you stick around and teach. If they don't, you knock the dust off your heels and keep right on going. So our job is to take the ones that want to survive and train them. I just was contacted by men who want to come to Central Florida. Our idea is to get a piece of property and start raising animals the biblical way, start growing food the biblical way. And we want to produce cottage industries for our people who are fed up working for this corporate structure, which is completely bought out and doing whatever the New World Order tells them to do. So we want to start by building a better model, as was said by in our quotes that we talk about. If you want to get rid of the current system, you build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. So what we're all about is harvesting ideas on how do we do that? How do we build a new model? So here in Florida, what our idea is that we want to pick a piece of ground with enough property that we can get like-minded men and women to come to it, and we will put our heads together and we will develop new industries doing things the old-fashioned way, and we will build an economy and like the Amish do, we will build an economy and a lifestyle based on biblical principle that makes the old model obsolete. And that will make people that want to come out of this system be attracted to us and come to us. And we just walk away from this new world order. Walk away from it. Just don't support it anymore. Don't give it your time. Don't give it your energy. Don't give it your money. Stop working for the machine. The machine will fail. I saw it happen in the United States Air Force when they started taking our top level maintenance crews and bringing in diversity. I saw what it did. It took the morale of the better workers and put it in the toilet, and the workload increased and the quality of work went down. I got out of the Air Force. I went into the electrical power industry. They did exactly the same thing about 5 years later. All of a sudden, they started affirmative action and all of that bullshit. I saw the same exact thing happen. The morale amongst the better workers went down because they were no longer appreciated. The quality of work went down, and quality for the public went down. So that makes prices go up. And now we're watching the whole infrastructure starting to self-destruct. I took my car into a dealership. Now, in the old days, you could go to a dealership and usually get top shelf mechanics. I went to a dealership twice in the last 6 months, and both times I might as well have tried to do the work myself. Okay. They sold me a battery I didn't need. They couldn't do anything more than balance tires. They didn't fix 3 other problems I had. I might as well have kept the car at home and tried to fix it myself. We're falling apart. And so we have to put our heads together to figure out ways of building a better model that can exist outside of this model. And that is a biblical concept. I don't see anything wrong with that. We have a right to do that. And the whole idea of the militia is self-defense. We have a right to defend ourselves. It's a God-given right. It does not depend on a constitution. It does not depend on a Bill of Rights. It does not depend on whether this New World Order government acknowledges it. It does not. It's a God-given right. It was given to us at birth. And as we build these communities outside of the system, we have the right to defend with force our homes, our lives, and our property. That is a God-given delight. The Amish have lived that way as long as I've known them. Okay. They're still here. Everybody says, well, they'll come in and they'll Waco you. Really? How come they haven't Waco'd the Amish? I grew up in Amish territory. Nobody messes with the Amish. All right. So that's a coward's way to say I'm going to sit on my ass and watch TV and eat popcorn all night long because I don't want to do anything about it. If the Amish can do it, we can do it. We just have to build a better model and make the old model obsolete. I yield.
Yeah, right on, Dan. Awesome, brother. That reminds me, I want to address your point and then go back to something earlier on Ethan and Tim's point. I call them patriot pods, man. You know, I envision that patriots are pulling together, conservatives, Christian patriots, again, all of us from the righteous army that are of like mind on these issues. And they're pooling their resources, 5 to 10 families. They're getting, you know, whatever, 500, 1,000 acres. They're fencing it off. They're putting a well. They're putting a spring. They're growing fruit trees and vines and glass houses. And like you said, like the Amish, and they're bringing in families where the sons and the daughters have canning experience and shooting experience and archery experience. And they're all, you know, doing all of those natural things, going back to the way we had to live hundreds of years ago and creating those communities. You know, I have this idea of it being like, you know, a patriot pod, right? And then they're all militia, right? And they all have their radios and their handhelds and they're communicating with one another around the nation. So we're there to back each other as well, right? And the more of those communities we can get into place, the better. If I had one, I'm still beside myself on why the creator didn't let my $1 billion Powerball win, because I would have used that money for this cause. So I'm kind of beside myself on that. You know, I don't want to win the Powerball so I could go out and get new cars and date women and have jewelry and go out to clubs and drink. I don't do any of that. I'll always wear flip-flops, a t-shirt and shorts, and I'd be getting property and I'd be helping others do it. And I'd be locating all the right people that have skills to create those communities. We need to do that, people. So going back to Ethan and Tim's point, I said at the outset, I'm the ultimate skeptic, the ultimate cynic, the ultimate pessimist, the ultimate analytical critical thinker. So just like I'll even put the respectable Brian Hunt and all of his commanders on my hot seat and say, well, I don't know for sure who you guys are. And there are people that are afraid. And that's precisely the way the FBI would do it. They would try to call people in because they want to get the ones that are gung-ho. So let's call them into these backwoods patriot meetings so we can round up the hardcore ones. There's no doubt they've been doing that. All right. So going to, you know, kind of applying that to what Tim was saying and Ethan, I concur with you guys. You're right. The law is there. We have the right to travel. We do not have to have a driver's license. We don't have to pay tolls. We don't have to pay a penny to be able to travel down the freeway and go about our personal lives and our business. Not commerce, but business, right? Because if you're actually contracting with them, right, it's another reality. You know, you're driving Uber, you know, you're working with their corporation. Okay, you need a license. But as free men and women, no, we don't, right? And a lot of issues we could talk about there. But what I would guard against, because again, I'm the guardian here. I'm the guardian. I've put the word out that everybody that comes through this organization, if we start even funneling them, when we start funneling them over to the commanders in the states that are the backwoods militia training, They're going to be giving me their phone number, their wife's phone number. We're going to be hearing from them. We're going to be knowing what's going on with them. We're going to be knowing they're fine and they're in good hands and they didn't get sucked into PSYOP. And I told that to the colonels last night. That's a big part of what we're doing here. We're going to protect our brothers and sisters that are trying to get involved. They're not going to get caught up in an FBI sting operation because, first of all, we're instructing them on how to go about it all properly, lawfully, peacefully, openly and transparently, and smartly. Okay. And then they got nothing to worry about. So, and we're here for them, for all Americans that join the righteous army. We're about protecting them, protecting each other as well. So having said that, Ethan, I love your plan. Tim, I agree with you too. I love the burning idea, burn all the licenses and everything else and the registrations because they're unlawful. In theory, just to make the point, two possibilities here coming from the skeptic safeguard guardian angel here. You two guys could be CIA, FBI informants trying to stir up, getting people to go out and do things that's illegal in their system. So again, they can round up that rowdy bunch, round up the rebellious ones. You know, good, let's get 100 here and 100 there and 100 there. In theory, I'm not asserting you guys are that. I'm not saying you are that. I'm making a valid point. That could be another one of their plans that they would do to try to round up that bunch that's opposed to their system, right? So I concur with you. I think it's a great idea. It needs to be done smartly and powerfully. The way I would see it being done effectively is when righteous army really, because there's going to come a time where we're just going to go, boom, it's going to take off. All the Trump supporters are going to know this is their home base. It's just that simple. And when we have 20, 30, 40 million of us, then we can really do what you're doing. Now, on the other hand, you say, well, we don't want to wait till we have 20, 30, 40 million. I concur. So right now we're walking that tightrope. We are walking the tightrope. There's potential, some potential risk, again, let's say in theory, hey man, Ethan, I got money in my pocket. I'm coming up there in Michigan. I'm going to join you. Let's get 50 of us. We're going to take our licenses and registrations and tags off our car. And we're all going to drive down these roads. And all of a sudden a cop comes over and he stops us. And then he sees everybody else stop and we're supporting each other. And then he gets on his radio and then 10 police cars are coming in, sirens are wailing. And then they're all getting out with guns. And then we got our guns because we're Second Amendment. And by the way, we're all wearing militia t-shirts. So now here we got another standoff, militia with the police. I mean, it could evolve into that kind of a scenario if we're really kicking ass on it and doing it right. It could evolve into that. We don't want to do that. I'd say, right off the top of my head, a smart way to go about it would be to give them notice. Lawful, with the courts supporting it, the paperwork, hand it in to every one of their chain of command, from the county mayor, the county commissioners, the sheriff, the police chief, all of them. This is what we're doing because we're protesting and we're making a point. Feel free to have your officers stop us so we can chit chat. We're not accepting your ticket. All right, I yield. Go ahead, Dean. I'll come back and forth with you on this. Go ahead. Go ahead and unmute. Tim, you can join in on this too if you want. The three of us will have a little round table here. Go ahead.
All right, look, this is so simple because we have the right to do this. We not only have the right, we have the duty to do this. This has been held up by all the courts, okay? But these corporate courts do not want to honor that. They are enslavement camps. They're there to harvest us. They're there to put the fear in us. Fear works both ways. We do not want to be stopped by any of these officers on the road. That's why we give them notice. That's why we tell them what we're doing. We're coming through. And we have First Amendment auditors with us. These guys got 50,000 followers, 80,000 followers, 100,000 followers. And they're recording this and they're putting us out in video after video after video. And we wake the people up. And all of a sudden, we become, we make the Trump train be minuscule.
All right, brother, we're going to go back and forth. We're going to have a round table here. So let's let, this will be a little round table. If you want a round table on this, Brian, come in if you have something separate to say, hold on. Tim, anything to say? Because you did clarify that. That was great clarification, Ethan. My immediate response would be awesome. We're on the same path. Give me all the paperwork so I can get that legal work on our website, and we'll know we have a model to go by. And we'll even orchestrate who the people are that people should contact, put their emails, their phone numbers, how to get that paperwork to them, and we can start doing this. I love it. Any comment, Tim?
No, not right now. I don't.
Yeah. Ethan did really clarify that good by agreeing. He was basically just saying no when I said, yeah, come stop us. You're right. We don't want to be stopped. And if we're
No.
giving them upfront legal notice, there's no
We're
reason.
doing that. Why would they stop us? We're doing nothing wrong.
Right. Again, I'm just thinking cynically and critically on the
Right.
potential thing of what could potentially happen. Right.
Right on. Right.
All right. So we'll
Right, so
yield.
you see, it
Go
doesn't
ahead,
matter-
Ethan, and then I'll yield to Brian.
Okay, it doesn't matter if you got a cracked windshield. It doesn't matter if you got a tail light out. It doesn't matter if your turn signal's not working. None of this stuff matters. It doesn't matter if you got an open intoxicant. It doesn't matter if you're smoking a joint. None of this stuff matters. We have this right and duty to be free, and we have been enslaved, and everyone is scared. The men have been emasculated. 30 years ago, I'm coming out of a building. It's a big, heavy door, and there's a woman walking up, and I'm like 5 seconds ahead of her or something. I could have just let go of that door and let it close and let her open it, but I stopped and I held the door open. And she says, "I don't need a man to hold that door open for me." You know, it's like, this is what they've done. And a woman can do anything a man can do. And men have just been turned into soy boy, skinny jean wimps. And even the tough guys are scared shitless. Nobody will report my story. I discovered oral health with cannabis. We remove calcified oral plaques. We prevent calcified oral plaques. Oral plaques cause harm. They cause tooth decay. But we have the ADA, an association. We have the AMA, an association. There isn't one cannabis attorney the world over that will take my case. I got the USPTO examiner dead to rights interfering in my case. I got my patent attorney and the examiner conspiring to screw me out of my intellectual property. I got the National Institute of Health ignored my submission. And at the time, it was written in the United States National Library of Medicine. If you have lost something, it's gone forever. And I get arrested. I get charged with multiple felonies the same month that the National Institute of Health funds $1.8 billion to rejuvenate gum tissue, but they do it under the false title of revolutionizing the root canal because they don't want to get my attention. And when they're failing, this was May 2016. I go to jail, they do the funding. In the fall of 2018 is when the examiner for the United States Patent and Trademark Office attacks my case heavily. And I have the emails on it. And ultimately, my patent was denied. And I called my patent attorney up and I said, look, I had under NDA, I had my application reviewed by a genius who is a scientist, who is a patent attorney and a cannabis guy. And he told me, Ethan, you're on your way to issue and you have many more patents to pursue in your original filing. And my patent attorney says, you're right. You're not on a level playing field. He says, sometimes a phone call can take care of this. Well, he's a treasonous rat. He knew this all along. Way back in the very beginning, he should have gone to the head of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. You got a rogue inspector here interfering with what's going on. But you see, they don't want you healthy. They want you sick. They want you miserable. They have us all living a long, slow death. We should be living a long, healthy life and a quick death.
Absolutely. Let's bring it back, Brian, Ethan, just to bring it back to the topic and the point at hand. Definitely send me the Supreme Court findings, the local findings, the court cases, you know, a list of who that we should ideally submit to let them know we're coming through, and I'll help you coordinate this because it is a great idea. And let's hear if Brian has some feedback on that as well.
Thank you, Mike. Just to comment on what Ethan was saying about men losing masculinity. When you shop for food, you're going to notice how many things have soy in it. You've heard of soy boys, right? Well, that's because soy's in everything, like microwave popcorn. What the hell is soy doing in microwave popcorn? So read the ingredients before you throw it in the cart, because if you're feeding children, spouses, brothers, sisters, whatever, watch what you're buying, because soy is in a lot of things, and soy is part of the problem because it's been provided in foods for decades. But you're talking about community and stuff. And one of the things that I've been doing is I've been stopping participating in the system, such as credit cards. I don't own one. I'm going to be getting, when my driver's license and my plates expire, that's it. They're not getting any money from me anymore. Banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Look at Bank of America. They're only going to help everybody but the white person, the white man, to buy a home now. That used to be racism, prejudiced. Walmart, Target, who's still shopping there? I don't. And I'm in a town of 16,000 people, but yet we got a super Walmart. I don't go near it. I drive right on by. I'm not going to spend my money with those people. That's the enemy. Paying taxes. Why don't we just fund the enemy so they can kill us? That's what we're doing when we pay our income taxes. Okay, 99% of us should not be paying income tax. If you work for the federal government, you pay taxes, or if you live in that piece of crap DC, then you should be paying taxes. If you don't qualify for those two, stop paying. There's already close to 65 million Americans not paying taxes. Do the math. They're putting together this ridiculous army for the IRS, and it's not to just go after taxes. That's a part of another agenda, as far as I'm concerned. But divide 87,000 into 65 million, and they're going to go after all those people. But the more that stop, the bigger the number becomes. Going off grid. All I need is a solar system, and I'm completely off grid here. I got my own sewage system. I've got my well. I basically, all I draw is electricity from the system. And once I go solar, they're gone. And make sure when you go solar, you don't buy a solar system that forces you to be on their system. There's off-grid solar and there's not off-grid solar. You got to be careful. So if you're going to be serious, you got to quit complying with the system. You got to quit participating. And there's plenty of small businesses out there, like in my town. I find other ways to get around the system. And people think it's not doable. Well, it's not doable if you don't try. You got to do your research. And we got the internet. I find these places on the internet, places that aren't part of the system. I meet a lot of business. I patronize a lot of businesses in my area here that are family owned. I meet the owners. I meet their spouses. I meet their sons and daughters that work in the business. I make it a point to find those businesses. And I meet the people I'm spending the money with. You don't meet the people you're spending the money with when you go to Walmart or those type of businesses. So I yield.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, brother. Good.
By the way,
Dave,
can I mention one more
Dave's up.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Can I say one more thing? This freight, this railroad strike, that may not be over. Okay. Now, if you recall, when they first talked about striking, they got it put off and they gave us a date, right? They told us it was 30 days or 60 days, and then we'll revisit. And then that just came up last week. Okay. And then all of a sudden there's no date. You can go to the Union Pacific website and there's no date. They're waiting for ratification of the, and of course, Biden's taken all the credit, right? He came in at the last, they did this in the early morning hours, Wednesday, Thursday, late night, Wednesday, early morning, Thursday. So I got on the phone Friday and I called Union Pacific and I called everybody I could find. Their main number, don't even waste your time. But I got a hold of some district people in 4 or 5 different states. And one called me back while I was at the grocery store on Friday. And he's having their media department call me because I told them there's nothing here that says for sure you're not going to strike. There's nothing there. So continue to prepare because I think they have something else up their sleeve for us involving this railroad. So now I yield. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Go ahead, Dave.
Yep, I think Dave,
I'm
Gator
here.
Dave.
Hey, thanks, guys. Absolutely incredible. Hearing you great men and great patriots tonight. I did want to remind all of you, if you're not aware, we're also involved with our Republic for the United States of America.org, a parallel type of government that stands by our true republic. Of course, Mike, Jim, and everybody else that have been here as well. And another great force that we all have along with our righteous army. I just wanted to make a point of that to let everybody know that don't know. But in simplicity here, gentlemen, the way I say it often in my shows, all the time, and I put it out there. But in our days, in these times when Mike was saying times have changed, well, times actually haven't changed when it's come to slavery. We think slavery went away back in the 50s and so forth, but it never went away. We're actually modern day slaves. Each and every one of us through taxation, the Federal Reserve, which is nothing but a Ponzi scheme. And, we've all been conditioned to this same old way, to live our lives, paying all these taxes, which are unconstitutional, a lot of them, we know. And people are starting to wake up to this and say, wow, why am I a modern day slave? I'm American. I'm supposed to be free. But are we really free? No, we're not. And this is exactly what they're doing. They're making damn sure that we aren't really free, that they continue. I always say this, the elites in the world control the governments to control the people as slaves. And I firmly believe it. We have seen proof in the pudding. The last big proof in the pudding was this bioweapon virus that was launched on the population. And then they came back with experimental vaccines and then forcing people to get this, mandates to get this. It shut down the whole damn country. And people are still trying to survive today from what happened. As far as the markets, look what happened back in 2008 and other times, crashed it. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to do it again. So brothers, be careful with your investments and so forth. I mean, my God, you don't want to think of it, but it's happened before. It's going to happen again. Think then, think now, I always say too. History does repeat itself. So I'm honored, absolutely honored in my life to be involved with the Righteous Army and all you great men, you great leaders. We need new leaders now. And this is how we rise up. This is how we have our republic. We have our Righteous Army. We'll have others coming aboard. And like Mike was saying, we'll be in the multi-millions. I don't stand for all, Trump, yeah, he was a great leader, but I don't really stand for all this nonsense and everything else going on. Because right now, listen, what you did, along with others, just, shut down this damn country. And a lot of us are still feeling it, man. I'm in massive debt from that stuff. Okay. All right. I'm working. I'm doing everything. I thank God every day. But our entire government is controlled by the elites. They're still running with the Federal Reserve, gentlemen. And we already know it ain't federal. It's such a big scam, and we just play along with it. Ethan, brother, God bless you. I love where you're coming at, sir. I'm stuck here in New York, man. You know how corrupt it is here. Thank God I'm not in that damn city. But you know, you got local politicians corrupt. They get into the government, they're corrupt, and it just keeps continuing. We need new leadership, and we have it. So many great, talented Americans out here. Really, seriously talented Americans, great patriots. And the only way we can do this, gentlemen, all of us, is to spread the word all around America and take our support too from great brothers and sisters from other countries that are totally being taken over and destroyed, like great friends of mine in Canada, Finland, Australia. Man, oh man, they're already being destroyed. And it's coming here. It's coming here. This electric cars thing. Ethan, you brought up that train thing. How do you shut down a country again? How do you shut down the food supply? Bam. They did it with the oil, right? Messed with all that. You knock out the railroad, we're screwed. We're really screwed. That's everybody. I mean, business, everything. And I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, what's next? What's next? They definitely want to take us over. We're seeing what's going on every single day. All this nonsense. But this is real stuff. And sometimes I wonder, gentlemen, is the Red Dawn that movie? Is it going to be nonfiction or something? You never know. But as long as we can get out there and preach and let the people know, man, we stand by you, our righteous army, our Republic for the United States of America, for the People Radio, and there's so many other great cats out there. And now we're all coming together.
Right on.
See, that's what the enemy doesn't like.
That's
Figure
right.
we get. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, the black hats would be knocking on my door one day. They probably don't even like that flag in the background. But you know what?
Dave, yeah, invite them into your house, invite them in for tea or coffee and just bring them to the website and, you know, turn them on to what we're doing.
Yeah, you know it, man. I put a big billboard in my front yard. I got no problem with that, you know. But
Yeah.
anyways, gentlemen, if anything, thank you. You're inspiring me. And if you inspire me, I can inspire others. Okay,
Well, you're-
great friends out there and patriots and veterans. I stand by our vets big time out here too, you know.
Well, Dave, you're as important as any of us. You're a voice on the airways and you've been at it for years, Dave. What your radio station again, throw it out so everybody knows it.
You know, it's for the People Radio 101.com. It's a mix of rock shows. I've got co-hosts out of Colorado, co-hosts out of Florida. We have our different shows.
When are
My
your
one
shows?
co-host, Tracy, we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday now.
And
Because I'm getting
Tuesday,
aboard.
just to insert
Yeah.
Tuesdays, because you mentioned the Republic for the United
That's
States of
Bill
America.
Gibson and our Republic. Absolutely, yes.
Right. And are you in on that show with them?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
There's
Awesome.
just been times I haven't been able to make it, you know. I mean, even sometimes here, depending on the family and what's going on, you might not
Yeah.
be able to make it. But at
Yeah,
least you can spread it. That's the way I
Right.
think promotion is so huge, even though they shadow ban us, they
Right.
knock us down. But the more cats that push it out there, you'll reach more people. Believe me, I do that with rock concerts. Okay, guys. I do music and I'm into a lot of different things with the music, godly, you name it. Music is very powerful. You know, and I just try and get involved to help people. I love that statement, Mike. You said, if you won that Powerball or whatever the heck it is,
Yeah.
that hit me too, because it's amazing. I've had those same thoughts.
We're
I have
always
two-
wondering, I'm sorry for interrupting on you, brother, but we're always wondering, where's the George Soros for the right? Right? I mean, it's mind blowing. Where are the billionaires
Well,
that support
wait a
all
second.
of our efforts? You know what I
We
mean?
do have a multi-billionaire supposed to be a great leader, right? President Trump. And I know he's got friends and buddies that are multi-billionaires, but where are they?
Where are they?
Where are those cats that got the real big bucks that can literally change everything?
Right.
I mean,
I know you
fund it all.
yielded earlier and I cut in and made a point and I got you back and I do want to let Ethan get back in.
Yes, let's go.
But I just
Go
wanted to
ahead. Thank you.
piggyback on your talking about the Republic to let people know that is linked
thank you.
on our website on the top. Anywhere on our website where it says Constitutional Republic, it links to Republic for the United States of America, and there's a direct link to it at the top. It's something people need to be aware of, because again, according to them, they're the lawful, official, legal, real McCoy, de jure government of the Constitutional Republic based on the first Constitution, where they submitted a 141-page Declaration of Sovereign Intent to the Hague, which was accepted by the Hague in 141 countries. So this is certainly something people need to read it, know it, understand it, because
Well,
everybody,
it's
James
true.
Carpenter, James, from the
Yes.
free state of Colorado comes on and makes great points. So I appreciate you bringing that up again. It's something we all
Hey,
need to be aware of.
Yeah, before Ethan speaks, so let me make a real quick point. No state government and no federal government is legitimate because we don't have constitutional money. That's all you need to know.
Right.
They have all committed treason, and without constitutional money, they're all guilty of violating their oath of office. Every single one of them. We're on our own. Go ahead, Ethan.
Real quick, Dan, that's because we're in a corporate form of government, stolen
Right.
from
Right.
the American people, basically. But thanks. I yield, guys. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for
and
the
I
time.
need to insert this real quick because Brian, I saw his email. He threw his email address out. I don't think you were in here yet, Brian, when I mentioned the National Militia Directory that I put out. I emailed it to you. I believe you should have it. And
Yes,
your
I got a
info's
copy.
on there. So everybody that's involved with this thus far, if your name is not on there and you want it to be on there, please contact me. Again, this is a mighty task I'm taking on. I'm trying to put the name of every single person. I literally want to put the name of everybody who voted for Donald J. Trump on our National Militia Directory, right? That's going to take some doing. I'm going to need some help from people to do it. Go ahead, Ethan.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so we have to wake the people up, and right to travel is the way to do it, because everybody needs to travel. And they cannot stop us lawfully or legally. The only way they stop us is with treason and tyranny and fear. And this is what they're trained to do. And these courts are not courts. They're so once we wake the people up, then the assemblies can rise and we will have the lawful courts. But first we need to wake them up. Now I want to make a couple of points to what you wrote and read before we came on and talked about the things that Trump didn't say. One of the things he never said was, let's make America healthy again. And before I got banned on Twitter, I actually got a response to one of my tweets from Trump, and I took a screenshot of it as a trophy. And I kept pushing on Trump any way I could reach him to say, make America healthy again. But he never said it. The other point I want to make is that it's not just the soy. It's reported that there's estrogen in beer. That's a man's drink. There's so much estrogen in our water supply, you can find the reports of nature becoming transgender, he, she frogs. This is what's going on. Those lubricating strips on your triple blade razors, apparently those, I've seen reports that lubricating strip has estrogen in it. So as you're scraping your face, you're laying estrogen in there. You're eating the soy. If you're drinking beer, there's reports there's estrogen in the beer. So everything has been about emasculating the men. And I hear deep voices in here. You will hear so many men with these high voices. They sound like women. And you hear so many women with these deep voices. And it's just all screwed up. So the right to travel is how we wake people up. And we do it organized. We give advance notice to all the authorities who are coming through. We give them all the Supreme Court cases, and we just simply own our authority. And another point I want to make is that talking with some of the law enforcers that have been in some of the Patriot chats, when I make the comment that I believe there's got to be 10% of lower law enforcement that would be whistleblowers, but they're afraid that their lives will be destroyed and then they won't be able to feed their families. The response I get back from those in law enforcement is it's closer to 50%. So they purposely hire policy officers that are basically not critical thinkers, not high IQ, order following, knuckle dragging thugs for their police gangs so they can impose their tyranny on us. And then they take us into these courts, which aren't courts. They have their own rules, and it's just there to harvest us. So that's some of the points I wanted to make. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Ethan. I just want to insert one thought. The reason I have a high pitched voice is because I've been working on learning a Earth, Wind and Fire song. The reasons that we here.
Well, actually, most of the time your voice is not sounding so high.
It would sound better if
but
I got my guitar and played it.
you know, but you hear so many men that have these high pitched voices, and it's just because of the food that we're eating,
Right.
and you know, and everything else. And you got a lot of men that want to have those high voices. You know,
Yeah.
they want to be feminine. And,
Yeah, and one last thing, Ethan, because you talked about the cannabis products that you deal with. What's the website where people can see that?
oralhealthwithcannabis.com.
oralhealthwithcannabis.com. And I wanted to bring to your attention, Ethan, and I'll say it now. I actually, on my website, thebigvirushoax.com, on my health page, I recently became informed of cannabis. It's a paste, right? Rather than cannabis oil, it's a paste where they take the entire leaf of the cannabis in its natural state, and they have a method of putting it in a glass jar and heating it at a certain temperature. And they've done studies in the labs where it shows all the synergy of the activation of the ingredients. It's something I put there because there are a lot of people that smoke pot, or they smoke pot for medical reasons. And I'm an anti-smoker guy. So, I feel like it's doing a positive thing to have a cannabis paste that's 100% pure on that site for people to give them an alternative. So, because I do believe that cannabis, obviously it's a plant from God Almighty. It's all natural. When we think about hemp material, right? I mean, I wish my shirt was made out of hemp, because it would last 30 years. We always hear about that kind of thing. But yeah, I just wanted you to put your website out and make the point about the hemp paste is what it's called, hemp paste, that I actually promote as well. I think it's probably good stuff. And that's on thebigvirushoax.com. Keeping it away from Righteous Army because, the Righteous Army, we don't want to be promoting anything other
You
than.
got other hands here, bud.
I know.
Other
Go ahead, guys.
hands.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Is Ethan,
All
were
right,
you done?
yeah, we're to Brian, and then we'll get on to Melissa.
My turn.
Yeah.
See that? That's a missing tooth. It was a time when I had that replaced. That thing fell out about 2 years ago. But I don't trust the dentist. I don't trust the doctors. I don't even pay health insurance now. I haven't paid health insurance in close to 2 years. So, that's where I'm at. But you know what I think about Trump is a distraction for us. And he just had a rally, Saturday? And so he's actually working against us with all the people that he is drawing. I cannot believe this is how bad it is. People still follow this guy, and he tells them right there at the rally to take the shot. It's crazy. But Trump is not on it. Trump is part of the agenda. He's playing his part of the script. They did this on purpose. So, they gave Trump the presidency instead of Hillary. That's basically what they did. And Trump is no good.
No.
So,
and as you know,
not helping our cause.
Just to interject on that, again, on righteousarmy.org, we have a Trump and Q navigation link at the top, and we address a lot of the points that Brian's alluding to on there.
But I didn't want you to think I'm homeless and I'm living in somebody else's house here because I have a tooth missing. Anyway, I'm done. I yield.
Okay. Before Melissa, we'll get to you in just a second. I just want to put a little biblical basis for what you just said, Brian. You know, we know it says that, you know, before that great and terrible day, he's going to separate the wheat from the tares. So Trump and the New World Order are just helping us figure out who's real and who isn't. Real people
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
going to listen to
yeah.
these assholes. Okay. So just, I look them as the walking dead or the tares. So we're part of the group that Christ says is going to come into the fold. These other people aren't. So he's just helping separate the wheat from the tares. I yield to you, Melissa. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about the soy and other things in food. I have an app on my phone. It's called Boycott. And if you can download that on your phone, you can, you have to, add it on there, but you can boycott Israel, GMOs, factory farming. I haven't looked at soy because I'm a late reader, but I just wanted to in
Uh-oh, we lost her. Yep.
She's on mute.
If you can hear me, yeah, you're muted, Melissa. You might have muted by accident. Take off your mute. There you go.
I just wanted to say that about the boycott, or excuse me, Boycott app. It's a really good app because I don't like GMOs and all that. So the soy thing made me think about it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
You
Okay.
know,
Thank you.
they're doing that on purpose because soy is in products that shouldn't have soy. Like I said, popcorn.
Charles was our keynote speaker last week or on the last meeting. He hasn't said anything tonight. If you have a word or two, Charles, we'll keep it spiffy because we're running on time here. And if anybody else wants to say anything, please raise your hand because these things could go on. We had a meeting that went 5 hours before, so I do want to try to cut this now. So Charles, go ahead and throw some words in based on everything you've been hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. All right. Yeah, great meeting. Lots of good energy. The only thing I would suggest is a lot of us are entangled in discussing the problems that we're confronted with. And I think with all due respect, to all the good speakers here, that we need to shift our priorities over towards talking about building the solutions. I think I think most of us are already fairly well up to speed on what the problems are. And those that aren't, they're in a different class. They can go to other forums to get educated about the problems. They're newbies. Most of us here have spent a few years in the movement and have done some serious studies about what in God's name we're going to do to save this nation. And those of us that are more serious about that and are able to focus our energies on that particular line of discussion, I think in our future conferences, we should try to engineer a greater portion of the discussion to focus in that area and just decrease and throttle back on talking about the problem so much. At that point, I yield.
Okay, Charles, that was very awesome. That was so spot on. In fact, that's what we're going to start doing from now on. You're right. That was beautiful. On that note, I did ask Ethan, please prepare whatever, you know the cases, the law, the Supreme Court, the findings, prepare a great little docket, provide it to me so I can put it on the website. Charles as well, on our last meeting, he got into some back and forth with a fellow that came on by the name of Eric, who seemed to be very well informed on law issues. And of course, Michael, who is the law officer for the militia, is very knowledgeable on the issues. But, I appointed Charles to, I always tell everybody that Daniel's my wingman. So when I met him, I said, man, you're going to have to be my left wingman now, And then, of course, when I met Ethan, I was like, Ethan, I got two wingmen, so I'm going to have to put you in the cockpit with me, man. Definitely Charles. Dan, my buddy, he's all about, go to the root. Let's stop talking about the branches. Charles has some systems in place too. So in the same way I've asked Ethan to provide me with the laws and the format. So we have, okay, this is what we can present. This is what we're using. This is our sword. Because I said this, the tip of this militia spear is the law, common law, and God's law. So please provide those court cases, those findings to me, Ethan. And Charles, was working with Eric, they agreed that they're going to put together some kind of a formulation of here's what we need to do lawfully to address any given issue. The courts are suspect in my mind because, again, if we've got a de facto corporate government that doesn't care, Dan has mentioned this a lot, I've referenced it, others have as well, you know, the passport thing and being a national sovereign. Once these communists send over thugs from other countries that don't care about us to come over and start killing people, they're not going to care what kind of a passport you have. They're just going to shoot you because they see you as the enemy. So we must continue uniting as a righteous army, as the militia, with the law as the tip of our spear. That's what we're doing. And we will be in the process of endeavoring to merge and work in conjunction with the militia, the commanders that are out there with, you know, doing drills and have the arms, and we'll be sending people their way as well. So that's what we're doing. We need our point men and women. That's going to be a good thing for you, Brian, in the near future here to know is it's called the field force system that they have, which has a numbering system and a whole, you know, we all need to be familiar with that, right? If they're using codes and signals and this is how we're communicating in the field, if we're at war, they indicate that they have the official system that was put in place 10 or 15 years ago. So I'll be providing that. I'll make it on all the states pages as a link so that people can familiarize themselves with it. That'll be some homework for you to do there, Brian, and every one of Melissa, all of our, you know, current points of contact, point men and point women in the states and counties that we have so far. Again, anybody that wants to jump up to the plate and be a point man or point woman like Brian, like everybody that's here, please email me at righteousarmyusa@gmail.com or call me anytime at 305-910-6206. With that, I'll yield. We'll go to Dave. Back to Ethan, unless he just didn't take his hand down, and then Brian. And again, anybody that wants to speak at this point, we'll just go off the hands. When the hands are down, we'll close the meeting.
Good, Gator.
Oh, okay, real quick. Just a few thoughts to ponder. A couple phrases I was just thinking about, and it's so true. Beware the rich man's trick. That's what we see in the Federal Reserve and, you know, all these others out there, right? Beware those that wish to be kings and gods. Well, we're seeing that happen. And then beware those that dangle the carrot. That's what they do. They dangle that carrot with the American people. You know, think about that with the COVID, everything else, giving out the money. Don't people realize that we're all paying for it? It's just simple things sometimes, gentlemen. Simple little phrases. Thoughts to ponder, I always say in my show. But I just wanted to share that real quick because it came across my mind.
Thank you.
The rich man's trick, though, is huge. And you were talking about Trump and so forth. And believe me, I've sent that to him and everything else. And there's one big thing that I put that out there is that, listen, you're still pushing these damn vaccines. They're experimental. You have stock in Big Pharma, like your friends and everybody else. That whole whack force that they had was treasonous against the American people. And hopefully we got to pray to God that we're not going to start seeing millions and millions of people dropping like flies. You know, I have a funny feeling this whole thing might backfire on him, you know, because he's pushing it. So I just wanted to just a little comment on that, but those phrases come to me and I just wanted to share them with you, brothers. And
Thanks,
thank
brother.
you for the time.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, brother.
Amen.
Ethan's hand's still up. Or did you have something else, Ethan?
Yeah, I want to stress this fact that the sheriff should be the highest law enforcer. The people are the highest law enforcers. The sheriff should be the highest elected law enforcer. That's one man in the county. And on the website, my website, oralhealthwithcannabis.com, on the services page is the document I created. It's the Americans Notice of Liability. And everybody can facilitate it for themselves, own it for themselves. And the best use for that is to take it and serve it on the sheriff in his lobby, under his camera, his audio, and tell the sheriff that road piracy has ended in his county. And he's to contact all the bylaw officers and let them know. Now, we will be able to really bring this home when we get out on the road. And the fact of the matter is that once we have law enforcement, we can hold all these treasonous rats to account. We'll bring back the grand juries, the lawful grand juries. Right now, everyone that's in prison doesn't belong there because they've never had a trial by jury. If they've had anything, it's a jury trial where the judge is the law, not the 12 judges of the jury. So when we get out on the road, we need to have good signage so that all the people on the highway see right to travel, no plate. They got to get it. We have to have the First Amendment auditors with us. And we can do this so powerfully and so peacefully, and they can't touch us because everything is on our side. So we just have to come together in a group big enough that these tyrants are going to fear us, and fear works both ways. So with that, I thank you all and I yield.
Melissa,
Thank you, brother. God bless.
I was hoping I could say a prayer before the show ended.
Absolutely. Yep.
sure.
So wait, actually, Brian was up next anyway, and then Melissa could take us out with a prayer. That'll be awesome. Go ahead, Brian.
Great.
And then-
By the way, have you all noticed Melissa's display? Her, the men in denim built our country. Men in suits have destroyed it. It's perfect.
Yeah, it
Amen.
is.
Is Ethan still here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethan, what was I wrote down oral health with cannabis
Yes.
for your website.
Yeah, oralhealthwithcannabis.com. That's CANNADIS.
Great. I'll check it out. And, the term law enforcement needs to be changed because that's wrong. They changed that not long ago to law enforcement. It's got the word force in it. And it's just the wrong term for what police are supposed to do.
Good
Sheriffs,
point. Good point.
police, etc. So
Peace officer.
we'd have to come up with something that exactly. Thank you, guys. Now, I was doing some math in my head. So this is how many people are going to be left, in my opinion. If we're just talking about a group of 10 people, 6 out of 10 are vaxxed. 2 no vax, but not awake. And then 1 wild card. So that takes 9 out of 10 out of the picture. So in a nation with 330 million, let's say, I don't know if that's exact, that leaves 33 million people left.
Don't say that because now people are going to think we're a PSYOP, New World Order.
I know.
Come on,
But,
an
I mean,
Illuminati, right?
think about those numbers.
No, actually, that's kind of cool,
It's
man.
not far off.
I'll take 33 million.
That's why there's
righteous-
1 wild
righteous
card in
warriors.
there.
We'll take 33 million righteous warriors. That's God throwing it
Yep.
back at him, brother. Right on.
Yep. What about citizens arrest? Does that play any role?
Let Ethan and
'Cause there's a
Charles comment on
split.
that. Ethan and Charles comment with
Yeah.
Brian on that.
Like,
Absolutely.
Ethan,
Absolutely.
you've got Governor Whitmer.
Arrest. Absolutely, citizens arrest plays a role in here. However, we are going to wake the people up to what their rights are, what their responsibilities are, what their duties are. Once we do that, then all those things will happen. Those citizens arrests will happen. And it will be done lawfully. There's many assemblies that have been formed, grand juries. You see, within every land jurisdiction should have an assembly. So it's not the county assembly. In my county, there are several land jurisdictions. You've got the village. You've got Orange Township, Blue Lake Township. You've got all these different townships within the county. Every land jurisdiction should have an assembly. This is how you get tried by your peers. see? And every assembly will have a grand jury foreman. And when somebody comes with a grievance and they're giving their testimony, they're providing evidence to the grand jury, well, then the grand jury foreman takes it to the sheriff. And then the sheriff is to go out and take care of business. You see, it's just that simple.
It looks like
And-
Charles is going to add to that, I think, Ethan. That was excellent, Ethan. And again, we have to formulate that into an actuality. It's one thing to talk about it and say it. This is why we need like a dynamic, here's the supporting documents and here's the what to do. So if you could please put that together for me, Ethan. Go ahead, Charles, piggyback on that.
Thank you. You can hear me okay, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Citizens arrest. For truly, the sovereignty is in the hands of the people. All power is inherent in the people. Most state constitutions have an affirmation of that, and nothing makes that more clear than the right of citizens arrest. But everybody has gamed that out in their head that if we just do citizens arrest by itself without any backup behind us, any local community behind us, we'll probably be the ones going to jail instead of the bad guys that we're trying to arrest. So
Let me insert on that, Charles, and then let you continue. That's such a profound point. One of the earlier things I did at the bigvirushoax.com, well, I hadn't been blessed with this righteous army revelation yet. I created it, the Big Virus Hoax, when I was dealing with exposing the virus fraud and the science and the vaccines and the social media censorship. I created Patriot Action Warriors, a Patriot Action Warriors page, which I might just copy and paste all that onto Righteous Army. And I was saying from the beginning when they were shutting beaches down, I'm like, where are all the people that are going to stand for their dignity and right? Come on, give me 300, like the movie 300. Give me 300, man. We'll all go to the beach now and walk right past the officers and say, no, we're here exercising our right to enjoy the public beach. You know what I mean? But no, all the sheeple, all the cowards, so, the part of what we're doing is gathering the righteous, gathering the like Dan said, man, the remnant. Come on, baby. Where you at, remnant? Here we are. We're all gathering right here, righteousarmy.org. Go ahead, Charles.
Thank you, Michael. Yes. And so when our frontline activists execute a citizen's arrest, statutes say that when anybody executes a citizen's arrest, they've got a duty to take the arrested person to a peace officer or a judicial officer. Okay, and if you do the research, the statutes have been have assimilated common law principles, and they've preserved the right of our local common law communities to elect our own local community peace officers and our own local community judicial officers. This is all based on Exodus 18, biblical Torah law, with the communities of tens and 50s and hundreds and thousands. The 100 court is your judicial office. That's your precinct level judicial power. And your 10 level is your local peace officer. And so they're under, when our citizens do a direct arrest, they take the arrested person to a peace officer and deliver that arrested person to him. And that's a second witness that gets to say, no, I can't release this guy because he's been delivered me by safe keeping with a man that sworn out a criminal complaint against this person, and I got to hold him. And that puts a stiff arm in the face of the de factos that might try and interfere with the judicial process that has been invoked by the way of the complaint and the arrest against the original corrupted official. So
Yeah,
we've got the tools, but go ahead.
Yeah, and let me go back to your original point too. Like you said, we need to be there in mass. All the more reason, if it's 10 people, when somebody's going to make a citizen's arrest and all 10 of them are wearing their uniform, right? And they're holding a gun because they have the right to do that, because they are the militia. They do have the Second Amendment. They not only have the right, for a citizen's arrest, but now they have an ultimate lawful authority and a uniform to go and a gun to go with it when they make that arrest. What do you say about that, Charles?
Yes, thank you, Michael. Very good. I would like to reaffirm, though, that there are threshold points where when you write on the law, when the law is clearly in favor of the people, and we're doing citizens arrest or other similar actions based solidly on constitutional common law, and we've got people backing us up, and we're confronting the de facto law enforcement or the de facto judicial officers, there are points where when we have enough people and we've got our arguments articulated well by our point man in the front, then they will back down. Most of you have seen judges get up and walk off of the bench in courtroom proceedings because there's just too many people that aren't taking the bullshit anymore. And
Right.
cops will do the same thing. And so if we've got enough people and we got people in the front of the group that actually have the brains and the courage combination to speak law correctly, then we can take the power back, guys.
Right.
It's all there. We just need
Right.
to get organized
Yeah.
and more focused. I yield.
And like you said, it's us. We're the people. We're the ones at the top. They've twisted it and made it where it's the federal and this telling the states, telling the municipalities, telling the sheep what to do. No, we're taking our power back. Like you said, like Ethan said, we have the power. We have the law on our side. We have the authority to do it. Go ahead. Actually, Tave, and then we'll end with you, Melissa, so you can take us out in prayer unless another hand comes up after Tave.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mike, Cook County, Illinois, January 1st. We're going to see what the people we're going to have to deal with the criminals that are murderers, kidnappers, aggravated.
You break, Tave, you're breaking up.
Are
Tave,
being
Tave,
set free.
Tave,
So,
Tave,
yeah,
Tave, yeah, Tave, you broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
Okay. Cook County, Chicago, Illinois on January 1st is going to have 400 people that have been charged with either second degree murder, kidnapping. There's 12 different things that you could be charged with and let free into the streets. So now you have a conflict with people that if they say you wanted to do a citizen's arrest, they're not going to hold them in jail anyway. They're not doing it. They're turning them loose. I mean, where's this going to now? My God. I mean, we're talking some severe people that are getting turned loose into the streets to go do worse than what they are there for, because now they're pissed off that they're there. So now we're going to get let.
Let me interject on you, Tave. And you were breaking up again, just starting to, but the Tave, there he is. There's our point man right now in Ohio, just brought a profound point up. You know, we're talking about a citizen's arrest and all these rights we have, but he's throwing a monkey wrench in the spokes, rightfully, that the whole system is crashing down, man. And the more, in fact, the more of us who do unite, the bigger the righteous army gets, and the more militia that are showing themselves as being who and what we are, militia, and we're merging and growing and getting big and strong, and we've got our right to assemble, and we have our right to bear arms, and we're claiming our rights and our law and who we are. They're gonna do even more on their end to just, like he was saying, throw all the criminals out on the street, create more chaos. They want a civil war.
No, Mike, we already know here where I'm at that the jails are so overcrowded that the jail will tell the sheriff or the municipalities they can't take anymore. Take them back. Where we just had an incident where a domestic violence person was being brought in, and he was told, take them back. We can't do anything with them. 2 hours later, they got to go back to the house. He nearly beat his wife to death the second time. Now we're into overcrowding. The overcrowding situation. If we did a citizen's arrest, where are we going to put them at? Where are we going to keep these people?
Dave, man, I want to thank you, but you just made this Zoom meeting probably have to go another hour.
No.
Answer.
Why don't I'll tell you what? Why don't we close it out with Melissa now? Why don't we close? Yeah, and why don't we make that, well, I'll make a note. That's
I'm
going to be the
sorry.
specific thing we're going to address. So we're going to need you here, Charles. It'd be nice if Michael School will be here, if Eric would come back, and Ethan will be here. Those are kind of the four lawful minded thinkers right now that have done a lot of research in that area. And let's discuss, you know, this nitty gritty of, okay, we have our laws and our rights, but the more we push, the more they're going to start countering, and they're going to try to create civil war and create chaos. So hopefully that won't happen. Melissa, take us out with a prayer. Apologize to the hands that
Amen.
are up, but you guys will be first on the list on Wednesday, okay? If not
God bless all of
Wednesday,
you tonight.
then next
God
Sunday.
bless all. Amen.
God bless you all.
Yep.
All right, let's,
bless.
for those who wish to stay on, Melissa's going to take us out with a
I'll-
prayer.
We are your warriors. Prepare us for battle. Today, we claim victory over Satan by putting on the whole armor of God. We put on the girdle of truth. May we stand firm in the truth of your word, so we will not be a victim of Satan's lies. We put on the breastplate of righteousness. May it guard our hearts from evil, so that we will remain pure and holy and protected under the blood of Christ. We put on the sandals of peace. May we stand firm in the good news of the gospel, so your peace will shine through us and be a light to all we encounter. We take the shield of faith. May we be ready for Satan's fiery darts of doubt and denial and deceit, so we will not be vulnerable to spiritual defeat. We put on the helmet of salvation. May we keep our minds focused on you, so Satan will not have a stronghold on our thoughts. We take the sword of spirit. May the two-edged sword of your word be ready in our hands, so that we can expose the tempting words of Satan. By faith, your warriors has put on the whole armor of God. We are prepared to live this day in spiritual victory. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Melissa. God bless all of you. And to those that went out in the middle of a prayer, when I play this video back, we're going to know who you were. I'm just playing. All right. Hey, God bless
Au
you all.
revoir.
Everybody have a great night. We'll see you Wednesday. All
Take
that
care.
can make it, otherwise next Sunday. Take care.